You are listening to the Postcast, presented by the Locked On Senators podcast and the Glebe Central Pub. Make sure you check out the Glebe Central Pub right in the heart of the Glebe at 779 Bank Street, and make sure you let them know that Locked On Senators sent you. I'm Ross Levitan alongside at Levitan Martian, and inexplicably, the Ottawa Senators cannot win west of the Eastern time zone. They have fallen to 0-13 and 1 in 14 games this season, losing 2-1 tonight to the San Jose Sharks. I'm Ross Levitan. That is the Martian, as I mentioned. How'd you see this one unfold? Do you have toothpicks keeping your eyes open or what?
Honestly, yeah, I needed them, Ross. It was about as boring of a game as I've ever watched out there. Like, there was just no events happening. You know, the boys were dishing it around okay, but like couldn't score any goals. I really don't know what to say about this one. San Jose is a very weak team. You'd think they'd still be able to at least handle them, but it seems to me like the boys just seem pretty checked out on this one. I don't know if this is going to be a trend we're going to see for the last few games of the year here, but if it is, it's going to be very, very difficult for us to continue watching them play, because I was ready to fall asleep during this one, that's for sure.
And what's worse, it's not like a few games, dude. There's 19 games left in the season.
Yeah, I know. All of a sudden, those games in hand are looking like a curse more than anything here for the Sens, because we got to watch them play more than most other teams in the league here going forward. So it's not perfect, Ross. I really don't know what to say about it, man. It's going to be a hard road going forward here for us.
It certainly will, and it seems like the players are feeling the same effects, because it's just a lack of emotion. I always tweet out at Sen Central first period thoughts, second period thoughts, and the amount of people who are just saying the players feel checked out. And, you know, you watch, and there's a few guys, like Brady was finishing checks on Mike Hoffman in the third period. Is that the highlight of the game? Like,
yeah, and that comes immediately after Shane Pinto kind of takes a very similar hit, almost sort of from behind like that, right? And he goes in there and he says, you know what, if you're going to take our guy out like that, I'm just going to finish this check hard on Mike Hoffman here. And poor Hoffman, after losing his skate blade, was it last night or the night before?
No, it was tonight. That was first period. Oh, yeah. That's how long the game felt.
Oh my goodness, that's how long the game felt, man. Exactly. Holy, I mean, there it is. That tells you a lot right there. I feel like it was yesterday that I watched that.
It's something special we're watching right now. And honestly, and we'll get into some rumors. Obviously, there was a Friedman slip potentially at intermission. We'll save that for the second segment, because Martian, we got time to fill instead of Sen Central standouts, which I don't know, outside of Magnus Krona, who looked like a prime Evgeny Nabokov tonight, kicking him out. That glove save on Drake Batherson in the first period was sick. Like, there's no way around that. Sick game from him. I got to see him actually live in Nodak last year. He played for Denver last year, so from college to the National League. But I mean, it's just another goalie that doesn't have a stage presence name. And I know Lucas Dostal is going to be a great goalie, he really will. But another goalie where if you're an Eastern time zone hockey watcher, you're not seeing these guys and you're like, how are the Senators making goalies on last place teams look so good?
I know, this guy seemed like a brick wall in there, and it wasn't for a lack of chances from the Sens too. They were shooting it pretty good from some pretty high danger areas, right? Timmy had a few good looks out there. Drake Batherson definitely had a few good chances as well. But yeah, he was standing in there. The best save from him wasn't even going to go down as a save, though. It was that poke check on Tim Stutzle towards the end of the game when he was cutting through the middle like he was. He's kind of free and clear there a little bit. And, you know, this guy Krona sticks his stick out of nowhere and you know, finishes that playoff himself. Great little poke check there. But yeah, I've never heard of this guy. I mean, other than I think he was in net last time they played the Sens, and that was it.
Do you want to know his NHL stats?
Yeah, let's hear him. Sure.
This was his first career win.
Okay.
His fourth game coming into tonight. He had a .581 goals against average and an .830 save percentage in the NHL.
You would think he played for the Sens with stats like this is a goaltender. Those aren't great. Those aren't great numbers.
It's another night where the Ottawa Senators get the second best goaltending. And this is not a Korpisalo bashing.
You can't blame Korpisalo for tonight.
Definitely not. But it's another night where, like, what would it be like if the team could get a goalie who doesn't even just play decent, but steals games?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't had that feeling for a long time. I feel like, I mean, this whole season, I don't even know if there's been a game where one of our attendees has absolutely stolen the game for us, maybe a couple, but you want to see it more often, that's for sure, Ross. And that's something they're definitely going to have to figure out for next season, because they can't go forward always having the worst goalie in every game they're playing in. And again, it's not a knock on Corpusalo here tonight. He stood in there all right, but
Yep. Made some good saves too.
yeah, definitely. And in the third period too, to kind of keep them in it, to keep them within one, and they just couldn't finish their chances. That's kind of the storyline for me on this one here tonight, is they just couldn't score on the chances that they were given, because they had plenty. They had 3 chances on the power play, right? And Timmy had a couple good looks, like I said. So they just got to bury.
Yeah, scoring chances 22-19 in favor of Ottawa tonight, according to Natural Stat Trick. That's at 5-on-5. Lots of penalties in this game, and well, all 3 goals in this game were scored on the power play. It was Thomas Bordeleau who had both of the San Jose goals. First one came 6 minutes and 24 seconds into the period. It's probably more of an indictment that Fabian Zetterlund was so wide open in the slot, but the way it tipped off of Bordeleau standing in front, I mean, nobody's going to stop that. You just have to kind of regroup afterwards.
Yeah, it turned into almost a little bit of an off speeder on him there, kind of, deflected off the pants and ended up going in. It was a great play by Zetterlund, though, like you said, to kind of, whack at that thing and get decent wood on it to drive it to the net. And yeah, I mean, you can't blame Corpusalo there, but yeah, like you said, I think the net front coverage, maybe could have been a little bit tighter to kind of prevent that one. If they were there, then that wouldn't end up in the net, that's for sure.
The kind of storyline that continues to play for me is just this defensive core just being too soft around their own net. Like, I want to see more ferocity from a JBD as well as a Chikrin, a Brandstrom, and Shabbat wasn't in the lineup tonight, but him, like, they don't have guys who move bodies in front of the net and create space for the goalie to see. And I'm sure that Korpisalo's numbers and Forsberg's numbers and Sogard's numbers would all be a little bit better if they were able to get a consistent effort in front of them, guys moving out and allowing them to see the puck.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's probably just another thing that they need to address going into next season, right? You can't just have these wimpy defensemen out there who aren't getting anything done in front of their own net, right? And I know I pick on Brandstrom a lot. He had a really great play earlier in this game where he was dancing around in the offensive zone. I feel like that's sort of the thing that fans tend to stick on when they're talking about him, is he does make a lot of really good offensive plays, but his downfall, is the defensive zone, and that's kind of an important thing for an NHL D-man to be able to control, right? You look at those good defensemen in the league; they're able to do both, right? Look at the way Vegas built their defense especially after this deadline with Hannafin coming in. He's a guy who can handle the front of the net, but also move the puck. So Brady's got one side of things covered. He's looking good in that regard offensively for the Sens, but defensively, there's a few guys who they're just not committed to, dishing out the punishment that you need to make your goalie's life a little bit easier.
Really frustrating to go down 1-0 to the San Jose Sharks, despite, again, outplaying them in that first period. I thought, even though the shots were 10-9 for San Jose, I thought Ottawa carried some of the play. And then in the second period, the Senators are able to get a power play, Martian, and Tim Stutzle, again, inexplicably, I feel like that's kind of, if I could sum up the whole season in one word, I'd use inexplicable. Tim Stutzle scored his first power play goal tonight, and I want to read this stat directly because I took a picture of the TV. That's how unreal this stat was. I'm sure you know what I'm pulling up here. Most minutes played this season on the power play without scoring a goal. Nikolai Ehlers, 148 minutes. Rasmus Andersson, defenseman, 150 minutes. Torrey Krug, defenseman, 189 minutes. And then 20 minutes more than that, Tim Stutzle, 208 minutes and 37 seconds before scoring a power play goal. That's ridiculous.
It's insane, and sure, he's got a ton of assists on the power play, which I think is kind of his role on the power play. But it's only half as many as last year, isn't it? Something
half
like
as many, and not only that, I saw someone note on Twitter only 3 of his 14 power play points now, and that's including the goal, are primaries. He has 2 primary assists, and I know on the power play the secondary assist can matter a lot when you're moving guys around. I get it, but that's a pretty indicting stat.
I mean, I don't understand it. It honestly makes no sense. Don't ask me to try to explain it, Ross. The only thing I can come up with in my head is just where he is in the umbrella is just like not meant to be like one of those primary shooting areas, I guess. So all the goals that are happening are coming off his, the second assist for him. But Ross, you'd think he would just, something would happen where he'd fire one and it would end up going in the back of the net. We saw it in the preseason. We saw it last year. He can score on the power play. He's a great player. That's just a really weird one that honestly, it just makes no sense to me at all. It makes no sense, Ross.
Makes no sense. And there's a poll put out by our friend Ian Mendez before the game. Do you want to tank or do you want this team to show a bit of life in the final 19 games? And I pointed to that goal in particular and saying that's your 3rd overall pick, assisted by your 5th overall pick and your 4th overall pick. It kind of shows the benefits of being able to draft a little bit higher. People pointing out that, hey, if they didn't go on that kind of fugazi run at the end of 2021, instead of drafting 10th overall, you could have got yourself a Brant Clark. We wouldn't even be in this position of needing an up and coming right shot defenseman and other things like that. Obviously, they traded away their picks in 22 and 23 as I eye roll because, well, hindsight is 2020. It's fun at the time. It's great for content when you're able to get, well-known players, but Steady Stevie Stamkos has been trying to make a move, however, hasn't been able to pull one off. But yeah, Tim Stutzle's 15th goal of the season. I mean, at this point, like you're just cheering for some milestones. Like Timmy can't be under 20 goals this year. Timmy has to score at least 5 more.
I was thinking about that too. Yeah, he's definitely got to hit that number. Like being under 20 goals is not great. That's not what we want to see. But we were talking about him at the beginning of the year as a guy who might score 40. And of course, he was close to doing it last year, but man, like definitely not going to happen this year, obviously. And he's not even close. He's not even close to where he should be. Like, yeah, as like a median, right? So, but I mean, obviously there's been a little bit of a regression in the offensive numbers. I'm still a big Tim Stutzle believer. I know it's easy to get impatient here, but he's still young.
He's just getting too frustrated. I thought
like
Alfie would
slump a year late.
Yeah, I thought Alfie would help maybe a little bit more with calming him down, but it's just how he's built. Like he gets so frustrated tonight. He was outdone tonight though, and we can move on to this, dude. Do you see Shane Pinto with the full baseball bat? He was frustrated after taking that hit. Oh, Kara just said it, perfect timing, right as we're talking about. Like he was all of us this season.
Oh my God. Yeah. I wish I didn't have time to clip it. I was going to, but that's exactly what it feels like to be a part of the Sens or a Sens fan right now. Right. He goes to swing his stick at the boards. He hits them hard and then he trips, he toe picks and goes face first into them. It's just like, oh man, it's like, we can't do anything right. We can't even get pissed off. Right.
It's a bit reminiscent, but hey, no victim in this case to Thomas Chabot two-handing Hamonic right in the face.
Yeah, very similar. Yeah, can't even get pissed off, right, Ross? We're just can't do anything right.
No, we can't. But hey, it's always darkest before dawn. However, we've been moving the clocks back, like we're gonna do at 3:00 in the morning. Or wait, no, we're springing forward. Darn, that would have been a nice turn of phrase. Ron McLean would have been proud of me, but unfortunately, factually incorrect. But it's been dark for a long time here in Sensland. And look, what's 19 games? It is a fair conversation of whether or not you want to get the good feeling of going into the off season. But Marsh, I thought you made a good point. Maybe you can expand on this. How like we've done that before and it hasn't worked.
Yeah, like at this point, like my mind has completely changed on this. I'm sure last season and the season before, I was more than happy to watch them win out the rest of the season and put up a good record to try to carry over that positive momentum and having a bit more of a winning culture as part, as the team. A lot of the same players are going to be coming back the following year, but this year now I look at it completely differently. We've seen that movie before. It doesn't matter what you end the year with the year prior. If you don't come ready to go at the beginning of the next season, then it's not going to work out for you. You can't just all of a sudden wave your magic wand and start playing exactly how you were playing at the end of the season before. It doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. So for me, absolutely. We're doing these postcasts and it sucks having to cover losses all the time. That for our own sake, it's no fun.
You and I were on such a nice little run.
I know, and now when losses are almost better than wins when it comes to where they're going to be in the standings at the end of it, and hope for a better chance in the draft lottery. Maybe our streak is still alive in a way, Ross. If you think of it that way. But yeah, for me, like you want to get better odds in that draft lottery and get a better pick, and hopefully it's someone who can help the team sooner than later, because they obviously need help in a bunch of different areas.
I was searching up one prospect in particular, Artyom Levshunov, quite a bit this evening, and one of the older players in the draft, which is, I think, something you're looking for if you want a defenseman. You don't want a guy who's 2, 3, 4 years away. You want a guy probably who can help a little bit sooner than that. But lots of good options in the top 10. As we're gonna do a top 80 this year, Martian, on Locked On Senators.
Yeah, I
top
mean,
80.
might as well, might as well, Ross. It's more fun talking about the future than the current days of what's happening with this team. Can you believe we are where we are right now? Like,
well, imagine at the start of the season if we'd have a guy like Adam in the chat asking if does Ridley Gregg give number 71 to Mackling Celebrini, projected first overall pick.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be having to give up his number to a rookie, even if he is Macklin Celebrini. But maybe he would.
Well, he didn't even want 71 really in the first place.
He gave up 17 for Zach McEwen, so.
Yeah, well, he could probably get that back, I think, if all things go right.
Yeah, I mean, McEwen's on contract again next year, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. We will see. By the way, Belleville lost tonight 3-2, even though they were up 2-1 in the third period. It's tough times right now. There's no question about that in Sens land, but there will be movement this summer. Just quickly on the game-winning goal here, power play, down low. Sandy kind of collapses in a little too tight to the goaltender, and you got to give credit to Bordelot. He kind of found some empty space there. Zub and Sanderson just kind of lost Bordelot, and I mean, he's a former second round pick who's trying to find his footing, and credit to him. That was a great shot.
That was a really good shot. Yeah, he put a lot of oomph behind that thing and went, cross body, went the other way with it, and he was able to fool Korpisalo with that, because that's not an easy shot to get off there. I think, the defenseman did kind of get a little too down low on that player behind the net there, but they were a man down too. So, and Claude Giroux is never going to make it back in time to cover Bordelot from that position. So
yeah, the broadcast was quick to say it was on Giroux. I don't know why the high guy is supposed to come down and cover the net front.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
Jamal Mayers is tough, good player, tough player, but I would prefer Sam Constantino, and that's kind of the bar pretty low.
He is funny with his analysis out there. He's so old school, right? Jamal.
Play-by-play guy was good. That's the Canucks.
Is that who that is? Yeah,
okay. He's good. Yeah,
I mean, his non-bias really came across. He didn't seem like a guy who was sick of watching the Sens, which sometimes a lot of those guys end up having a little resentment towards having to cover so many of their games, I feel like, this year. So, yeah, he was good. But, yeah, Jamal Mayers with his old school mentality out there. He's like, oh, he's got to keep his head up there. And the guy's just getting pasted from behind. It's like –
yeah. Oh, amazing. All right, we want to get into the storyline of Linus Ullmark. Was he almost an Ottawa Senator? We'll have that conversation. And yes, we will spin the Tankathon wheel. That's coming up next. But first, let me remind you that the Postcast is always brought to you by the Glebe Central Pub. Look, I have people always asking me these days, how do you continue doing the Postcast? It is so depressing to cover this team. 7 straight winless games. They get 1 point in their last 7. Well, it's because we have great people like the Glebe Central Pub on board helping us out. Glebe Central Pub at 779 Bank Street. Go in there, have a pint, let them know that we sent you, because by supporting them, you're supporting us here at Locked On Senators. Not only do they have trivia night, the dartboard, great sports, the Arsenal supporter bar, soccer hooligans, they love to turn it up. So the vibes are always immaculate at the Glebe Central Pub. They also have the Sens shuttle. You dare yourself to go to the Sens game on Tuesday against the Pittsburgh Penguins? Well, why don't you leave the keys at home, go have a great time, and go visit the Glebe Central Pub? The shuttle will take you to and from the CTC for only $17. Sue, Spiegler knows, Sue will get you to and from the pub, and they'll bring you right back afterwards. The bus leaves an hour and 15 minutes before the game, and then we'll bring you right back from where they drop you off. So there's no hassle, nothing. You just get back there. 20 minutes after the game, the bus starts wheeling back to the GCP. So go check them out, 779 Bank Street. The vibes are free at the GCP. I want to let you know about another one of the sponsors here at the Locked On Podcast Network. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Robinhood. Did you know that even if you have a 401k for retirement, you can still have an IRA? Robinhood is the only IRA that gives you a 3% boost on every dollar that you contribute when you subscribe to Robinhood Gold. But get this, until April 30th, now through April 30th, Robinhood is boosting every single dollar you transfer in from other retirement accounts with a 3% match. That's right, no cap on the 3% match. Robinhood Gold gets you the most for your retirement thanks to their IRA with a 3% match. This offer is good through April 30th. Get started at robinhood.com/boost. Subscription fees apply. And now for some legal info. Claim as of Q1 2024, validated by Radius Global Market Research. Investing involves risk, including loss. Limitations apply to IRAs and 401ks. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold for 1 year from the date of the first 3% match. Must keep Robinhood IRA for 5 years. The 3% matching on transfers is subject to specific terms and conditions. Robinhood IRA available to U.S. customers in good standing. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC, is a registered broker-dealer. All right, welcome back to the Postcast. I'm Ross Levitan. That is Levitan and The Martian for that ad read. I like to try to speed it up. You know how they always do like the disclaimers and everything a little bit quicker. So shout out Robinhood.
Yeah, you did a great job there. Yeah, that's a lot to get through.
Woo! Here we go. So it's a 2-1 Ottawa Senators loss. In regulation is the key. If you're going to lose, I don't want any more loser points, which is ironic because when the Sens had a fighting chance, we're like, can we please have some? And now it's like, no, regulation or bust.
Yeah, it's like they went half the season without a loser point. So now we don't want them. We wanted them. Now we don't.
No, now we don't. And it's unfortunate the Sens didn't get as much help as you would have liked on the out-of-town scoreboard tonight because Columbus had to blow it in the third period. It was 1-1 with Nashville, and then Nashville pulled away, got that game-winning goal. Montreal also lost in regulation. But look, as far as I want Ottawa to fall, which is below Columbus and below Arizona, call me crazy, I still want them to finish ahead of the Montreal Canadiens. I do. Is it because personally I have some shekels on the line? Yeah. But also, there's a rich history, Martian, of the Ottawa Senators drafting the pick after Montreal and getting the better player. So I do like that storyline too.
I like that angle if you're going to take it that way. But yeah, the people don't really know about you being on the golf course with the Montreal Canadiens fan and being so sure that was going to be money in your pocket at the beginning of the year.
I laughed in his face.
That's a tough look, man.
He said even odds?
Yeah, I know. And who would have thought? Not me.
Not me, brother. But look, with the Ottawa Senators right now, it's pain. It's pain. So we're going to continue. Are you hate watching any teams? Like for me, I always find myself cheering against Detroit. I'd love for them to just miss the playoffs and draft 15th overall.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of refreshing watching other teams play at this point for us with everything that's going on with the Sens. But no, I haven't really gotten into that yet. I'll start doing that for the playoffs. I tend to tune in a lot to, the Leafs playoff games are always entertaining for me, especially when they're losing. That's something I enjoy watching is them losing in the playoffs. Nothing's better except for the Sens winning in the playoffs, of course. But we're not going to get that this year. So Leafs losing, I'll hate watch them. And then that's pretty much it for hate watching as of
We talked about it on the stream too. Those 2-3 matchups all over the league, but especially in the Western Conference, those 2-3 matchups, we could get Edmonton, Vegas, Winnipeg, Dallas, or Colorado, Dallas in the first round. Like there's going to be some heavy hitting, like games that I could have called as like Western Conference finals preseason that we could get in the round one. So we'll be here every step of the way. No postcast in the playoffs when, we will for Belleville if they're able to make the playoffs. But it will be fun to kind of be able to look from afar. And shout out to Vladimir Tarasenko. Gets 2 goals, 2 assists in his second game in Florida. That's awesome. That is awesome. And I see some people saying in the comments, so I will note before we get to the rumor mill, the Senators 0-13-1 against the Western Conference. They have 2 games remaining against the Western Conference. And Pilsy and I will be at both games in Winnipeg, in Minnesota, and we're 12-0-1. So it's almost like identical games played too. 0-13-1 meets 12-0-1.
Something's got to give there, Ross.
Something's got to give, baby.
Unstoppable force meets the immovable object there. So we'll see.
Winnipeg might be going for a Central Division title there. It's like game 77 or 78. So it's going to be their best at that point. And then Minnesota, I think, is more likely to get the win. Last year, the Sens lost 5-1 in Winnipeg. I got to the game 5 minutes late. It was 3-0. So I'm hoping for a bit better of a result there. I need Pilsy's my silver bullet here that when we go to games together, it just, I don't know, man, it just clicks. So, yeah, worst case, as Nick points out, get ready to witness history. We could see 0-15-1 against the Western Conference. Nick, don't put that evil on me though, pal, because I'm excited for these two games, getting traveling, and then yeah, I'm excited for the offseason too, because we will see some movement this offseason, Martian, and most notably, a goaltender could be coming to Ottawa. Now, Linus Ullmark, why don't you run through how this conversation came up with Elliot Friedman at intermission?
Well, yeah. So I actually missed the segment myself, but I was able to catch the replay on it, and I saw a couple clips out there as well. But of course, the rumors went around after the trade deadline that Linus Ullmark was denying a trade somewhere due to geographical reasons. So to me, that screamed Ottawa right off the hop. And then Elliot Friedman was walking through that exact story and saying, this is something that they're going to revisit in the offseason. And instead of saying the Bruins, he started saying the Senators. Like he said, I don't know. I wish he could pull up the clip because
he basically said the Sens couldn't get it done. And then he's like, no, the Bruins couldn't get it done.
Yeah, it's like almost a bit of a Freudian slip, but he didn't finish the word entirely. He said the word Sen, which could have meant he was maybe going to, because he does say a lot, like there's a sense. So he maybe was saying that. Who knows?
But you're all over what the insiders' phrases are, eh? These days.
Yeah. I love how they like to use the same lines over and over again. It's very predictable, but it's funny.
We'll see what happens here.
We'll see what happens here, and my belief is, but no, he basically said Sen. I don't know if people think it's a Freudian slip. I kind of think it might have been a bit of one. I don't know why he had the Senators on his mind. It's not like they were talking about them at that particular moment. Of course, Sportsnet's got a bunch of games on tonight that they were talking about, so it's not like this was the only game, and the Sens were like in the heat of his mind. So who knows? We'll see. I guess we'll see in the offseason. And it does line up as well with what Steve Staios was saying about how, they got close on a couple things, and we'll revisit these things in the offseason. So he may have laid the groundwork there for a Linus Ullmark acquisition. Who knows?
Very interesting. And not only that, it's like, okay, well, would that have been Chychrun going the other way? And if so, would like a Brandon Carlo have been coming back in that trade for Ottawa? Like they would have had to make the money work a little bit. And I'm curious what the other parts of it is. Maybe the streets can do some digging on that. But people are hearing LA, and Elliot Friedman said it was a team in the Eastern time zone. So that's kind of where we're at with that. And
he did say that? Okay. Well,
yeah. The other day, I believe it was yesterday that he can't. That guy must have. I can't believe 17 hours screen time is bananas. Bananas for Elliot
Friedman. Oh my gosh! Yeah, I know. I heard that. That's insane.
But so like with the chat,
does he have his phone on all the time? Like
has to.
Like, because you're only up for that amount of hours, probably. I mean, I guess you sleep. I mean, you sleep probably 4 hours each calendar day. I don't know. That's crazy.
It is. It's not normal.
I don't know. He may be a vampire. Who knows?
Well, it's almost like the Jamie McLennan calling the game in LA and then being on Trade Center all day, then doing overdrive the next day as well. Like,
yeah, it's like they teleported him out there somehow. But yeah,
amazing.
He looked tired that morning at the trade deadline when it first started, though. You could tell he didn't get a lot of sleep, the poor guy.
Oh, definitely not, man. But he battles through. He's a great guy too. Great family. His wife is the reason why Pillsy and I got our TSN internship. So we owe a lot to the McLennan family, no doubt. But before we get to our tankathon, like, would the chat be happy with Linus Ullmark, or would it have to be bigger? Because I think I would be even happier if Carlo was involved, because, dude, he is a big body mover in front of the net. He would kind of fit the bill of what Ottawa would be looking for.
Yeah, I mean, my only hesitation with him would be a conversation that I just recently had with my dad, who's a Bruins fan, and he hates Brandon Carlo. So I don't know. He's like, every time they get scored on, he's on the ice. So maybe that's not true. Hopefully he's wrong about that.
Well, tell your dad that he's plus 21, which would be by far the best on the Sens.
Yeah.
He was plus 44 last year too. I don't know how many goals against he's on.
I mean, maybe he's completely wrong about that. Maybe it's just something that he thinks. But
I love it. Well, we all have those preconceptions as well when we watch. But I wouldn't mind him. However, though, he also has a 10-team no trade list. So curious.
Who knows? Maybe he wasn't even involved. I don't know.
But they're gonna do something big this summer. I'm pretty sure about that.
Yeah, there's going to be some surgery happening on this roster. That's for sure.
And we will be here every step of the way. A reminder to follow The Martian on Twitter at Laleem's Martian. The show is at Sens Central. You can subscribe on YouTube. They do go a long way to helping us out. I have requested Dave Poulin for our 1000th episode on Tuesday, and I went through the team, so we'll see how that goes. I was like, should I just text Pooley? I was like, no, he's probably been so busy recently. Last thing he needs to do is hear from me while he's out in California, and the team that he works for has lost 7 in a row. So I've gone through the team. Hopefully it works out because Pooley's a great guy. And did he play 1,000 games in the league? Maybe the chat can help me.
I think he did.
Because let's see. No, 724.
Oh,
530 points though, man. He's
still a good
sick.
number.
Yeah, he was awesome. We can't do this forever, but we can do it for the rest of the season. The Tankathon spin. We are the greenest number here because Ottawa just allowed San Jose to win for the first time in 10 games. They were on a 9-game winless streak here, and Ottawa now takes over as the greenest team. Lost 7 in the streak column, 2-6-2 in their last 10 games. Ottawa currently with the 5th best odds to land the first overall pick. With that said, Martian, should we get your spin first, or should we let the citizens go first?
Let's let the citizens go first. Thanks for hanging in there with us, folks. 181 strong.
All right, here we go. Okay, so I don't love this. Chicago stays first overall. Minnesota drives up 9 spots to pick second overall. Ottawa moves down 1 spot to 6th overall. Now, what I will say is the West is by far the worst this year. So as long as Columbus is the only Eastern Conference team picking ahead of Ottawa, I can live with that. You know what I mean? As long as like a Montreal, Buffalo, they don't jump up again ahead of Ottawa because they've just got first overall picks in 2 of the last 3 years. Like, I'll be okay with that. All right, we'll save the best for last. We'll save the citizens for last. Here's my spin. Hey,
let's go.
First overall pick, which brings me to a great question I have for you. Martian, I'm sure you've seen Pilsy does not want first overall.
Yes.
And look, as much as we're going to clown on him for the next 3 months because of it, I get his point. His point is they need a defenseman. There's lots of defensemen as well. No, but his real brain, I know he'll say that, but he wants a defenseman. And he's like, if you get first overall, it's Macklin Celebrini.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. You got to hope for the best possible pick. I think in the back of Pilsey's mind, he really actually does want first overall. He's just saying that because he knows he's a mush. And if he says he wants first overall, then they won't get it.
So you would like Macklin Celebrini?
Of course. That'd be awesome. First
so
overall
awesome.
pick. It's been a long time since Sens have had that. We deserve it as a fan base. He's a stud. He's a star. Yeah, the league will be talking about him. So, yeah, of course.
I love it. So my spin, Ottawa moves up 4 spots, drafts first overall. Chicago, San Jose, Anaheim, and Columbus all moves down. All right. Before we get to the citizens pick, thank you always, Sens. Appreciate the super chat here. The Sens need some major surgery, just like Josh Norris does. We'll see if Josh Norris does need surgery, but either way, he's done for the season. There's no question about that. I'm curious, though, how his injury status will affect things going forward into the offseason. Do the Sens expect him to be ready for opening night? And if so, you better get his cap available to use as well. All right, the final spin on tonight's postcast goes to the citizens, and here we go. Wow, this is interesting. A double 10-spot up lottery with neither team moving up to first overall. Chicago drafts first. St. Louis goes up 10 spots, drafts second. San Jose down 1 spot, and Calgary moves up 10 spots. Their pick is protected in the top 10, so they keep their pick. That's interesting to me. However, what's also cool there is even though Ottawa moves down 2 spots, it's 2 Western Conference teams that come up. So anyways, it's going to be hectic, and we were talking about this, and Martian, I'll get your take on it too. It's so funny. It's almost like, hey, losers, watch this before the playoffs, because they always do the draft lottery right before the game ones of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Yeah. It's like, hey, you losers, you fan bases out there, this is the last thing you're going to enjoy for 3 months. So here you go.
They really know how to get us tuned into that first game of the playoffs. You know, just dangle that little carrot for us. It's pathetic.
Oh, man. Always Send says buyout Josh Norris. Well, you can't buy out LTIR players. I know some people are mentioning it there. And I mean, ultimately, between the two, and obviously you hope that he just gets healthy and gets back to being a goal scorer and being able to help this team, you would rather not buy him out.
No. It'd be crazy to just give up on a guy like that.
Crazy.
It would be crazy. I don't even want to entertain the idea. Yeah, you just hope he just gets back to old form and can start scoring goals again. That's what the team needs.
It's an $8 million question that we'll be asking ourselves all off season. Martian 2-1 sends lose to the San Jose Sharks. You got any final thoughts after what you just saw here?
No, I just need a nap after that. It was just tiring to watch. It was not entertaining at all. It was a tough game. The Sens didn't really get anything going, and the score shows that. It was just a pitiful effort. Tough night.
Tough. Do you have one Sens Central standout for the people? Like, did somebody catch your attention at least?
Yeah, I thought Timmy was kind of going out there tonight. I know he didn't, finish a few different chances, and he was giving the puck away here and there, but he was still buzzing around out there, making good plays, drawing penalties. He had the goal, of course, as well. Finally broke that power play streak of not scoring on the power play. So I thought Timmy had a decent night. He's probably the one that stood out the most to me, and even the announcers were kind of fawning over him a little bit in his game. So Timmy, that'd be my pick.
Okay, I like that. I'll go with Brady Tkachuk. I thought he was engaged physically. 5 shots, 4 hits, had an assist as well, and it's got to be frustrating for him. I don't know if you saw his availability before the LA game. He just seems so defeated right now. And look, as much as it's better for morale or whatnot to win out a few games at the end of the season, like, I want these players going into the offseason pissed off. I want them going in upset and angry and saying, wow, how did that happen? And fix it next year. Like, it has to be done. So Ottawa loses 2-1. They outshoot the Sharks 32-21. Ottawa goes 1 for 3 on the power play, but they go 2 for 4 on the PK, 50%. The Ottawa Senators go 61% in the face-off dot, 47% of the shot, share at 5-on-5, 10 hits and 16 blocks. San Jose had 10 hits and 19 blocks. Negative capabilities asking for a Boris Tkachuk scouting report. He won 1 battle against the boards. That's all I really noticed in his 8 minutes and 8 seconds.
Yeah, me too. And he made one good pass and had a little bump hit at one point too. But that was basically it. He looked like he was trying hard out there. That was good. I think they should put him and Kastelic together. They would be a good little matchup, I feel like, together.
Amazing. That's how we're ending it. That's how we're ending the postcast, talking about Boris Tkachuk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No disrespect to Boris Tkachuk, but
I heard someone yell from the stands, "Boris, move your feet!" You could hear them.
No way.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. You could just hear Boris. Pretty funny.
Oh, I hate that. I hate that we're okay with losing, but it's where we're at.
We're coping. We have to make it through this somehow.
Yeah, we do. And we will continue to. We'll be back on Monday with episode 999 of the show. We've got lots of great content planned over the next couple of weeks when Pilsy comes out to Winnipeg in, 2.5 weeks from now. So look, there's a month left in the season, and then we will have all off season, and there's going to be a coaching hire. There's going to be core players moved. There's going to be the draft. There's going to be lots going on this summer here in Sensland. And maybe the best thing is an off season without overhyping the team. Maybe that's what they need, Martian. Yeah. So we'll leave it at that for tonight. Let's get some go Sens go in the chat. Yeah, go Sens go. Maybe all lowercase. Go Sens goes in the chat. That's Lalim's Martian. You can follow him on Twitter at Lalim's Martian. You can follow me at Ross Levitan. The show is at Sens Central. And the Senators have not won a game since beating Vegas, what feels like a year ago. Half of Vegas's team is different since that game, but the Ottawa Senators have now gone 7 straight games without a win. We appreciate all of you for being here. After win, loss, we vent or we vibe, but now we tank. And again, another postcast where we get a first overall pick in the Tankathon. TSN had him in second. Is this a sign of things to come? Maybe, hopefully, yes. But for us today, we say goodbye. For Martian, I'm Ross, and We're a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I feel like I'm robbing you all of danger flutes, but frankly, it just wouldn't feel right. So we'll ride out to this.